Peace to the saints. It's the one and only. It's the big homie. Your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber, Fax Kellerman, Malcolm Flex, Devon Gotti. And today we analyze an interview with Andrew Tate and some random white kid I never heard of. Apparently everybody's famous. I don't know how this works out. I see it like a new person every day that has 1 million followers. I'm starting to just believe everybody's a plant or it's fake or they bought followers. I don't know. Where do these people come from? But anyways, let's go ahead and get to this work. Here we go. Oh yeah, and by the way, for those of you who are real men, I appreciate you following on twitch.tv/Marquett Devon. It's a small gesture, but it allows us to escape the Google corporation, which, as you know, has shadow banned me and tried to make me disappear for speaking the truth. So many say that they regard the truth, but their actions show otherwise. So to you honorable people who watch on Twitch, which we've had no political issues with, I appreciate you. You have my respect. Let's work. And as we go through, hop on Twitch and also use the information in the description of the video to share your comments, questions, timestamps, tithes, tuition. Let's work. I'm going to rewind this from the beginning.
This time was Romania. I was locked up there, didn't have any prospect of getting free, and now here I am in a movie studio in LA. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, welcome to Hollywood. But
I don't know if I want to be the guy on the welcome to Hollywood.
yeah, we'll just get right into it. There was a recent clip of you and a few other influencers.
Is Buddy smoking a cigarette? This guy is sick. There's so many of these influencers. They really are demons. Oh, they really are demons. It's quite sad. So few of them actually have any morals. But I was just thinking and realizing that the society is truly degenerate. It shows at some level the importance of things like positive and negative eugenics, because the police look like criminals. The chicks are covered in tattoos and piercings. They have extensive sexual history. People are overweight and think it's okay and normal. In fact, they get offended when you speak up on it. The society is really in decay, human society. And at some level that's spread throughout the world. Certainly the epicenter is Western world. But anyways, I say that to say we know that the kids will be doomed if your heroes themselves are degenerates.
At a nightclub with Ye's song playing in
Shorty got them implants.
the background. This quickly became an international incident.
You know what? I can't take
Shout out to Kanye, because he's the real winner in all of this. I'm guessing those streams ran up something serious. My guess, just my guess.
a piss without getting your head and never met before. They wanted to stream, so that. Clav and Nick, who I'd never met before, they wanted to.
Man, Nick looks like the smallest little white gremlin you would ever want to see. Look at this guy. This is your hero? Oh my goodness. We need to institute eugenics immediately. I don't think he's making standards. We need to send him to a labor camp. Look at this little gremlin face fella, little no-lip rascal in the worst suit. He looks like he's a public defender.
Stream, so we started streaming, and then they talked about it being Nick's first day in the club. I thought I'd have to go and check it out, and of course, it was an international incident.
Thank you for trying to escape all blame. I get it. The idea that, well, here's something that I just recently had a revelation while I was working out earlier today. As you guys know, within this thing of ours, we say exercise is prayer, 30 minutes of sweat every day. Sweat is the holy water. And as I was working out, I was thinking through all of this entertainment stuff, these influencers and celebrities, and I was realizing why so often the fans are disappointed when they find out more about their favorite influencer, especially as it relates to these guys hanging out with each other. In this case, you saw Andrew Tate hanging out with the clavicular fellow who's clearly mentally unwell, Nick, who's psychotically racist, Sneeko, who has low self-esteem, Myron, who believes himself to be a white man, and Justin Waller, who actually is a white man. Shout out to him. I saw him singing some country song. I was like, this ball is white. He was like, Sweet Home Alabama. it was crazy because everybody else was just like looking at their phone, not vibing at all. This nigga was in his zone. Sweet home Alabama. Bro was hitting the drink. Oh, that man was in a happy place. But anyways, I say all that to say, like, and when I point out to you that the world is mentally sick, just imagine that you have these dweebs getting together fighting against DEI. Now, mind you, I don't support DEI either, but I think it's strange that you're fighting against DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, yet this group of white supremacists represent diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? In as much as Nick is Mexican, Myron's an Arab Indian, Sneeko looks like an immigrant from any country, just pick one. Andrew is a mixed breed. So it's like, where are the white men in the white supremacy movement? It really just is Justin Waller. And I could say of the group of them, I find Justin Waller to be seemingly the most sensible one. So this is a representation of the sickness that besets us. And really, we can't deal nicely with these people because there is no level of persuasion or a set of ideas that are going to heal someone that is broken. And so many of these people are mentally broken. But anyways, let's get to this work. And I'd be thankful for you if you would send in your comments, questions early. Ties and Tuition. You can use the information in the description of the video because no one does it like this. I checked.
Of course.
Do you believe what happened to you was unfair?
Okay, who cares about the answer to this? This is a stupid question. Life's not fair. I thought we all learned that in the 3rd grade.
Jews who I meet and who I know brag about that. They're not ashamed of that. They actually say,
Wait, did he use the word that you're not supposed to use?
far too much control over American politics. I would argue there is certainly something strange with the amount of Jewish power that exists in the West. And also the powerful Jews who I meet and who I know brag about that. They're not ashamed of that. They actually say, if you say to a Jew as a non-Jewish person, you control everything, they say you're anti-Semitic. But when you sit with them in private, they're like, we control everything. And I think it's funny.
No, that is fun. Like, for sure, if I controlled everything, I would definitely laugh about it every now and then. And my laugh would be something like this. Yes, a joyous laugh, a joyous laugh. There's nothing like utter domination. Nothing like it. Yes, indeed. I would also encourage folks in my live chat to not use all caps. It suggests that you're screaming. It also suggests that you don't respect the basic rules of written English. So please don't annoy us. Thank you very much. You've been warned. May I acknowledge Isaiah came in using the Stripe link, supporting the work. We appreciate you. May I also acknowledge via CashApp, and the CashApp is Marquett Burton, which is actually the same as the Venmo. For those of you who didn't know, we'll just go ahead and pop that at the bottom. There's the Venmo and the PayPal. Shout out to Will. Came in using CashApp, which in fact has actually banned me. So that supports the fan channel. And shout out to those who are really a part of this thing of ours and keep it going. And F you to all of the people who are just casual observers and fans. We don't need fans. I'm not a celebrity. Shout out to Jordan. He writes, Peace of the Saints, came in via PayPal. I also acknowledge Wayne. He writes, Peace of the Saints Tuition. Didn't know Adam 22 could box. Well, he can. I think that was the problem. Now, acknowledge Sage came in supporting the work via PayPal. Shout out to Mr. Muvirimi. He writes, Peace of the Saints. Now we see why Adam turned down the fade with the big homie. Well, there's a number of reasons. You guys may also know that on the fan channel Marquette for Women, there's a reaction to Adam 16 having a boxing match with Jason Love. Jason Love is the adult star who pounded his wife, grounded and pounded her. And he also just recently pounded Adam as well. Shout out to Winsley. He writes, that's Lil Pump, Saint. DMX would eat him alive, literally. Pause. Shout out to Wayne. He writes, and these are the ones that came in last time. The emails were delayed. So I just want to thank you all. I always say show love to those who show love to you. Shout out to Wayne. He writes, keep it going a little more, MDB. Need to see him get knocked out. I wish it really was a true knockout. It was a TKO because Adam quit. He was a coward. Mouse acknowledged. Philander writes, Marquette, how does one negotiate share splits with a co-founder within a tech company? What matters, for example, work, contributed, roles, etc.? Well, Philander, this is a more serious question that would require you let me know what people are actually doing within the project. How indispensable is their skill set? How much money have they contributed? What network have they actually put into play on behalf of the project? So I think if you're, if you have a serious business, you're going to want to share some more details. You can message on rizdem.com/Marquett Devon for people who want a low cost, quick solution. That's RIZZDEM/Marquett Devon. And there you can send a question and I'll reply to you with a voice memo. So you can ask per question. If you need a consultation, I think the link is in the description. And wishing you much success. It's a fine business. And shout out to all the people that I was with yesterday, last night, in fact. Last night, myself and about 25 guys in the AI course, how to develop apps with AI. We did a 5.5-hour session straight. Shout out to Al Batar. He writes, "Peace of the Saints. Just finished chopping it up with Dan Lee. We had a good time as usual, reflecting on how we met and how life changes. Knowing him, Mitchell, Jabri, has been the best thing that happened to me. Looking forward to meeting other saints too." As I say, we have a global organization. If you haven't joined up, peacetothesaints.com. This is one of the saints. I believe he's in the Middle East. A number of the saints from America and Asia, they've all met up. It's a beautiful thing. I also acknowledge Albatar came back. He writes, "By the way, I like your style, Commander. Peace to the Saints. I appreciate you." Shout out to Miles. He writes, "Peace to the Saints, Mr. Burton. I saw your video exposing Candace Owens as a video vixen. Also, did you know Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk, was a video vixen as well with a country music singer? Not surprised in the least bit." The ability to lie and deceive, this is the chief strength of the human female. It's almost like a superpower, certainly a competitive advantage over us. He writes, "These women aren't leaders. It's all a circus with Tate included. The ism is the only real thing." That's a fact. I even find these beta males try to argue against me like, you need to support Candace Owens. No, I would rather die. And I do mean that. Literally, I would rather die than follow a woman. I will never let a woman lead me. I will never do that. I'm not weak like you. And when the time comes, I will let a sword drink your blood for being so weak and creating a bad example and spreading corruption among the youth. Shout out to Akash, writes tuition. Also acknowledge Albatar, writes, "Peace of Saints, the handsome hustler." Love the drip. Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, this is a special edition right here. You dig? But make sure you have that black and red MDB label hat. That's like a uniform. That hat will be more popular, more well known than the Make America Great Again hat. I promise you that one, ladies and saints. Let's carry on.
So all of that, I've been very clear on my positions, but people seem to believe I should just, walk around and randomly attack any man who comes up to me who hints that he might have visited Israel at some point. And I think the reason we have this phenomenon is people are trying to escape the matrix, right? People are trying to
See, now that's crazy. I mean, you are the Matrix. If you weren't the Matrix, you couldn't have been, as you've reminded us, you couldn't have been the most Googled man in the world because your image and likeness and your voice would be greatly suppressed. So there's no doubt that that is not true, what you're suggesting, that you're somehow an outsider. You are as much an outsider as the Donald was an outsider, which means not at all. Furthermore, you've not only been able to amass great wealth, you've been very well represented on search engines. You've also been embraced by the mainstream media, Piers Morgan chief among them. And you have done the miraculous thing of staying out of prison through a good, significant number of court cases in various countries, which is a hell of a trick for anyone. So the idea that you're not the Matrix is bizarre, because if you weren't the Matrix, surely you would have been in jail. You have to do a little bit of time like Mandela or like Martin Luther or like Henry Thoreau. But apparently you are the Matrix, and I'm sure it has its benefits. Shout out to Cameron supporting the work, came in using the Stripe link. Carrying on, let's work.
Escape their enslavement and understand how the world works. But the pendulum swings both ways. People are waking up and saying, I don't understand why my life is shit. And then they're researching online and going, my life is shit because of the Jews. But then they're getting enslaved in a different trap at the other side, because then they're saying, so I can't win and everything in life is permanently shit.
Well, it's funny that he says that, because the instinct of humankind is always to blame others. If you're black, you blame the whites. If you're white, you blame the blacks. If you're lower class, you blame the Jews. If you're Jewish, you blame everyone who's not Jewish. Everyone has someone to blame. Very rarely do we look in the mirror and deal with the reality because we mostly are narcissistic and we have sensitive egos. The challenge is that our ears welcome anything that tells us we're the best. Our ears welcome anything that tells us it's someone else's fault. Our ears hate to hear the idea that, we need to improve or that we are problematic. And I find that unfortunately, sometimes I have to be the bearer of real news as opposed to fake news. And people often hate to hear it. One young lady was telling me that she wishes that, she wasn't good looking so that people wouldn't focus on her appearance. And I was just like, what are we talking about? But it's these kind of things that, that wasn't what the conversation was about. The conversation was about weight and fitness. And, that was a deviation from the conversation. Now, I don't say that, I don't criticize other people while being blind to who and what I am. Mind you, if anyone needs an adjustment to the mic, please let me know, especially my moderators, which is to say that I'm in maybe the worst shape of my life, but still pretty good shape. Maybe not the worst. Maybe a month ago I was in the worst shape of my life. But I'm aware, and if someone were to bring that to me, I take it seriously. There is no excuse to be made. There's no explanation to be made. The only thing to be made is a plan for improvement. And that is what separates you, the leadership class, the saints, the good people of the world, from average people. Average people are degenerates. Average people are blind to what they do. Let us not be like them. That's a very low way to live.
Because of the Jews. The Jews don't stop you going to the gym. If you have skinny arms, the Jews didn't do it. But there are people on the internet who will argue, yes, they did, because Jews have convinced us to be.
So it does appear that he is doing a bit of tap dancing in as much as, what does exercise have to do with any ethnicity? He's picked a very peculiar point of argument where his logic sounds sensible, except that he started off at the wrong place. No one is concerned with their exercise regimen as it relates to Jewish people or their control of the society. Really, the biggest issue anywhere on the planet Earth, when you find people demonstrating, when you find people engaging in social upheaval, it's always an issue of economics, finances, poverty. And when you find poverty and inequality, it's often because the economy is out of whack, largely due to credit and debt, usury in other words, or riba. It's often due to these complex financial instruments, which are basically creating false value, derivatives, futures, paper assets, junk mortgages, bonds, like all of these things that are all garbage. The truth is, in a proper economy, you wouldn't be able to make a living as an OnlyFans girl or as a streamer. You'd probably have to do something that adds actual value as opposed to just entertainment or cheap thrills. We are in such an inflationary economy, and it's also causing us to suffer because we have fewer people pursuing being a doctor because it doesn't pay as well as showing your butthole. And we have too many males trying to all become streamers and become YouTubers and all of this stuff. And I find it personally disgusting. Some of you who are without knowledge, you might say, well, Marquett, aren't you a streamer? I'm not like you who are trying to become a streamer having done nothing in life. I founded several corporations, successful ones. I have multiple degrees from top universities, University of California, Berkeley, Johns Hopkins University. I'm a distinguished alumnus of the Johns Hopkins University. I've been awarded for my work around the world, specifically with regards to education and educational attainment. I accomplished things before getting onto YouTube. I didn't get onto YouTube until I was in my 30s. I didn't waste my youth and my energy trying to be a famous person. I used my youth and my energy to create new ideas, intellectual property, technology, products and services that actually benefit humankind. I also, as well, founded a fraternity. I also founded a nonprofit that was wildly successful, very well funded, and helped a lot of families. So I've probably already worked enough time to retire in terms of just real work hours. Anyone who takes any of my courses, especially if you take a practicum, which is to say it's synchronous and we get together on a Google Meet, me, you, and a whole classroom, and we work through, you see every time the first session was 7 hours, the second session was 5 hours, the third session was 5.5 hours. That's not normal. That's how I work. So you cannot compare me to one of these YouTubers who, if you check through their background, it's like, oh, he was a reality TV star, or he was on some dating show, or, she used to, like, he came out of college and became a podcaster straight away. These people have no life experience. That's why when they tell you things, they are reaching into a shallow well of knowledge, very shallow. They cannot teach you what they don't know. And beyond having limited experience, they have limited education. They have limited know-how. They have limited network. Many of them are, in fact, provincial. And that is a big difference. And the reason I talk to you guys about serious things, about the fact that, don't try to become a streamer, especially straight out of university, because if everything goes bad and the economy resets, you're going to need real skills. You're going to need a real job. And more importantly, the society does not benefit from 100 streamers. You need doctors, you need nurses, you need plumbers, electricians. And that's what our politicians, our political class should be discussing, is cultural, like steering the cultural ship. I'm the only one talking about it. Even the white supremacists, all they do is talk bad about the Indians, talk bad about the Muslims, talk bad about the blacks. They never talk about lifting up the whites. So many whites are degenerates. Really, so many of them are degenerates in the United States. They're a far cry from what their ancestors have been. These white supremacist leaders have no plan. They're just commentators. They're just making the money.
Moralized, and my dog bit me because a Jew told it to, and it goes so far the other way that they haven't escaped any prison. They're back in a new prison, which is blaming the Jews for everything. So there's certainly some valid arguments. And
Interesting, Andrew. Tell us, what are the valid arguments? I'd like to hear them.
I've been very clear on what those arguments are. But I have to be very honest with this anti-Semitic crap. I have to be very honest.
Oh, so you've been very clear on what those arguments are, but you won't articulate what they are right now while you're being interviewed? Very curious. And now we've gone from there are valid arguments against them to this anti-Semitic crap. Fascinating. You see, because I know that they definitely do rule, and they rule with an iron fist. You can observe this in geopolitics. You can also observe this in the fact that they banned me. And I went from having 0 strikes on YouTube, literally, to having 3 strikes in one day, no warnings, and instant demonetization. And that did not come when I spoke critically about black women, when I spoke disparagingly about black men, when I spoke, criticism of the LGBTQ. It came only when I spoke about a specific group, which lets us know that you cannot talk about that group. And the other thing that you have to understand is a part of the reason that you guys suffer is because you're disjointed, you're not united. Even when you look at ICE, for example, at Burton Plantation, if they were to come to, which they'd never come because I'm out of the way, right? It just wouldn't make sense for ICE to come here. I'm very much so out of the way. But if they did, they'd first go to my outer gate, which is 5 acres from my home. So I'd already know that they're here, and I'd have a 5-acre head start that they'd have to come in. If I so chose, I could pick them off with a rifle, which I do have a number of. And I have a great vantage point from my balcony. I have the high ground. I could just pick them off on their way in. And, but beyond that, if you guys had sense enough to know that you should live in tribes, which is to say in community, say we had a community here on the plantation. We already have 3 folks who have purchased plots, 1 acre for $30,000, but you only pay $3,000 up front. And then in a couple months, about 5 months, 5 months, we're going to get everyone together, make sure that they like each other. And then if you want to continue on, you pay the remainder. If you don't, then we'll refund you immediately. But anyways, if you had 10 families here, me personally, my arsenal is significant, but I assume everyone would have at least one firearm, probably more than that. You have 10 families, which is a minimum of 10 men. This presumes no one has sons and no one has more than one guy in their house. You have a minimum of 11 men, a minimum of 11 firearms, and they know that they're going into a community where people love and respect each other. There's no way I would sit in my home and let someone come into our gate, let the enemy come into our gate and take anyone's mother, father, brother, cousin, son, daughter, none of it. It's not going to happen. And ICE would know that they would be coming into a fortress, essentially, where there's a community and we will not tolerate it. So they'd either have to say, we are going into a skirmish to have a battle where there will certainly be loss of life, or they're more than likely going to say, it's just not worth it. I'm not going to drive way out to Burton Plantation for no reason, no good reason, and then put my own life at risk trying to bother one or two individuals. It's unlikely. No one gets messed with when, people get messed with when there's just one of you, or when you're weak, or when you're alone. No one messes with a militant group of men who are completely unified and are going to take it to the max. It just doesn't happen. I'm sorry. But still, you sit there and you refuse to improve your behaviors. You refuse to adjust. You refuse to grow. And that is why you get more of the same. That's the reason. There's no surprises on why your life is as it is.
And maybe Nick Fuentes and Dan Bilzerian and people who are more extreme than me will disagree. I'm not sure. But I believe Dan Bilzerian had Jewish business partners. I don't know.
Is Dan extreme? I don't find him to be extreme at all. I find him to be very accurate. He provides insightful information. And I think anyone in business has had business partners of that particular ethnicity and faith. It's almost hard to be successful without having to engage them at some level. However, that doesn't mean that you condone what they do. And at some level, you'll find that, when you speak up, you're going to suffer greatly. They've gotten me for, in excess of $1 million for speaking up. It's not a game, it's real stuff. And maybe that's why Tate is changing his stance.
What Nick would do. But if I came to film a movie in Hollywood, in a movie studio, and I got paid $100 million and I'm making a movie, and halfway through I find out that one of the 300 people who work for the film crew is Jewish, am I supposed to stop making the movie? Because according to the anti-Semitics on the internet, I should instantly do a salute and walk off and give all the money back. And it's very interesting.
I think it's quite fascinating that he uses a metaphor involving money. Yes? I think that's quite curious that he's basically saying, should I give up my money? Should I give my money back? And at some level, it makes sense in as much as that kind of is where they hit you. They hit you with the money, right? They take your money. They've certainly done it to me. And maybe they threatened to do it to Tate. He seems to be living still quite well. I'm still living, above average. But I think it's interesting that he's weighing up his morals, principles, and values against money. Something we have to really think about. I see someone had expressed interest in acquiring one of the acres of land that we have for $30,000, $3,000 down payment now. You pay the balance in 5 months. I actually, you can send it via Venmo, and maybe I'll make a link for that at some point. Mostly everyone, I know quite well, but you can send it via Venmo, put your email address, and we'll make sure that you're tapped in. And also it's worth noting that there'll be about 20 acres in common. We're going to put up a football field. I've been trying like heck to get someone to come paint lines on the football field, but we make sure that there's at least 20 acres in common for exercise, play, and all the other stuff. 1 acre is plenty. I had a 7,000 square foot house on like half of an acre. But 1 acre is plenty. Have a garden, grow vegetables and things like that. So anyways, carrying on.
Interesting these people pretend to have these views because none of these people have suffered for their views. They don't even have real accounts. They don't even have their face or their name on their account.
Go ahead.
They haven't been to jail. They haven't been locked in their house.
You didn't go to jail for talking about Jewish people. So that's number one. But I do agree that all of these people who are so critical, these are the losers who don't have a profile photo. They don't have a name. They are nobody, and they're at tremendous risk. And I would like to condemn all of the Muslims and all of the pro-Palestinian people because I tell you what, when you're speaking against a certain group in a certain country and in favor of Palestine, you know, they're all there. You get millions of dollars taken. You get your family threatened. You get your life threatened. They are nowhere to be found. And then I realized, like, oh, this is all a trick and a game, because with the extraordinarily large Muslim population, aren't there like at least 1 billion Muslims? You know, they're so big, but mostly they're liars and they're not sincere. Because if they were sincere, that little bitty country in the Middle East that's causing havoc, it would be no more. But they're not sincere. And so what they do is they'll say, oh, well, why didn't DJ Khaled speak up? Well, he didn't speak up. And I know personally why he didn't speak up, because I've suffered what he would have suffered. They took huge amounts of money. They try to make you invisible. They take away all of your business opportunities. They debank you. They kick you off of certain platforms. They don't allow you to get visas to travel. Do you know how strange it is that I can't get visas to travel to certain countries? It's bizarre. Every time I travel, my stuff gets just ramshackled, which is strange because I'm a known traveler with I have Clear, I have Global, whatever the hell it is. Everything you can buy, I have. But I still get stopped, interrogated, and they ramshackle my stuff. And I realize all the people who tell Khaled, hey, you need to support Palestine, they're nobody, so they wouldn't suffer. But if Khaled did it, he's going to take his family from a multi-million-dollar lifestyle into the poorhouse, and potentially even into prison. He could go, potentially lose his own life. And so they're telling him to do something that they would never do. And the worst part is, if he did make the ultimate sacrifice, which I have made, they won't support him and they won't back him up. And to be honest with you, I knew that I would lose money. Before I started talking, I knew I was going to lose money. I did not realize the extraordinary ability that these people have and the coordination to make you invisible and to take your money and to block your business deals. And they can have contracts that are signed, unsigned. I did not realize it. And to be honest with you, I thought they controlled things before. After they put me through their little torture chamber, I realized they're far more powerful than I even imagined. Far more. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Truly unbelievable.
Haven't had death threats. They haven't had the government try and take their children from them. They haven't had all of their money stolen. They haven't had anything bad happen to them, but they expect you as a famous person to martyr yourself.
That's right. That's right.
And I guess the real question is, do they actually genuinely expect that, or do they just want?
No, you're totally correct. And I don't know if it's hatred or jealousy or what it is, but he's right. They do expect you to martyr yourself. And that's exactly what you do. And, you know, I regret every bit of what I did, because as one man, I cannot fight the struggle of the Palestinian people. And then I realized in sacrificing myself, the Palestinian people weren't there. The Muslims weren't there. The Arabs weren't there. No one was there to help me or keep me going. And so what the pro-Palestine people will do is they'll have you, they'll have you step forward, let you get slaughtered, and then they'll just leave you for dead. This is the truth. This is what they do. They'll just leave you for dead. They'll send you DMs like, oh yeah, brother, keep going. Yeah, brother, you're speaking up, brother, you're so brave. And then you get slaughtered out there, and then they just walk away. This is the truth of what they do. Now, here's the difference. The Palestinians, the Muslims, the Arabs, they leave you for dead. Now, the Israelis, boy, they take care of their own. As far as they're concerned, if you even look at one of us wrong, we're all on your head. And that's been an important lesson. And so I'm just sticking with this ism. You heard me? Peace to the saints, assassin or nothing. If you're not assassin, you're nothing. Major lessons.
When they say, Andrew, you should have doubled down. You should have done a salute. When they asked, you should have gone up to the Miami mayor and said, hail. And, I'm going to kill every Jew I see. That's what you should have done, Andrew, or you sold out. They don't expect that. They want it.
One thing I will say that there's no doubt that Tate, just like me, has suffered greatly. I don't think he's maybe suffered as much as I have, only in as much as, like, meaning financially, only in as much as he's high profile enough that there's only so much you can do when someone has that level of visibility, the most Googled man in the world. There's only so much you can do, right? He suffered more in the sense that he was in prison. I don't know the nature of his prison stay. I've been to Romania many times. So I know that you can certainly get favors. And if you're wealthy anywhere in the world, you can get favors. And being wealthy, well-liked, and well-known is going to help you. And Romania is a reasonably conservative country, and they're going to be favorable to someone like Tate, even if they're putting on a show for the rest of the world. So I trust that it was maybe not as crummy as a prison stay usually would be, but certainly prison is prison, right? Like, it's never a good thing. So, my heart goes out to him as an individual. The good news is he got to deal with this with his, all of his wealth and staff and notoriety and his brother, his family. In my case, unfortunately, I've dealt with this alone. And it's been very educational. And that is what life is. Life is an experience.
Because it's entertaining. We live in a world now where everyone is so bored and so numb. And watching a famous, important A-list celebrity like myself martyr himself. For the same reason I'd have a huge stream if I set myself on fire. Hi, guys. Decided to commit suicide today. I'm going to set myself on fire.
This man is 100% correct. And, he's kicking real ism, you see. We have a 3-sentence Bible, 3-sentence Quran, a 3-sentence Torah. Be yourself. Be good to yourself. Be good to good people. What I learned so very quickly is be yourself, and the second piece, be good to yourself, and trying to do what appears to be the good thing. You try to help the Palestinians, the cause of the Muslims, engage in the external jihad, but you hurt yourself in the process. There's no upside. Do you know that there was no upside whatsoever to doing the right thing for a people who don't care about you? I should have known better, because in my book, In the Black Box, I talk about don't ever help someone who wouldn't help you. It looks a little different when you get it on Amazon. Type in The Black Box, Marquett Burton. I talk about don't help someone who wouldn't help you. And that's essentially what I tried to do. I tried to help someone who could not help me. And in doing so, I hurt myself greatly, and I benefited not at all. And I highly recommend against it to all of you. Your good fortune is that this wouldn't even come up in most of your lives, right? Most of you have everyday lives, and no one's asking you to stand up for the people. Not that anyone pressured me or forced me. It was my own error. And that's why I tell you guys, you are those with good hearts. And your greatest challenge with being a kind, genuine person and having a good heart is self-management. Knowing that you're in a wicked world and you have to protect yourself, because among us are many who are not good.
Break the records. So they want me to go out and commit suicide. And I have to be honest, although I think the ADL have too much influence, although I disagree with everything the Israeli government have done, although I think the genocide in Palestine was one of the most disgusting things we've ever seen. If I was filming a movie with 300 film crew and one of them was Jewish, no, I wouldn't quit the movie. If a man comes up to me and shows me respect and he's Jewish, I'm not going to punch him in the face. I'm going to treat him with respect because he shows me respect. Perhaps I'm not anti-Semitic enough for the internet anymore. I don't know. But I'm not going to change and bend on my views because there's a whole bunch of people who think I should. And I'd like to actually talk to Nick about this and understand his point of view on this. I wonder what he would do in those scenarios. But I'm a big person, and I'm not an internet streaming clown. I'm a genuine A-list celebrity. In fact, I've been told multiple times by many different people that I am literally the most famous man in the world. I've been told that. I was the most Googled man in the world, and after being locked in my house for 3 years, I thought, everyone's over Andrew Tate. Maybe it's all over. No one cares. I can't go anywhere. If I walk down the street, I am flooded in every city on the planet, everywhere I go. Today I met Chinese Trump. You've seen Chinese Trump?
No.
No, he's a Chinese.
No, shout out to Chinese Trump. He's funny. He's really good. The challenge that Andrew is facing, and may we all have similarly good problems. The challenge is that he can only see what he can see. And unfortunately, with fame and money come many sycophants, many psychopaths, many gold diggers, male and female. And so it puts him in a bubble, which will cause his own blindness and suffering. And my heart goes out to him because he's very challenged. My heart, in fact, goes out to everyone who's in the spotlight. Now, in his case, there's no doubt that he's pursued this, but there's great challenge for those who are in the spotlight, especially if you're not a very centered, stable person. You know, people who use alcohol, they use drugs, you know, they're already under great pressure being wealthy and famous. And then when you add fuel to the fire, things like that, intoxicants, it only puts you at greater risk. So I really make a prayer for Mr. Tate and those in similar situations.
Guy who does Trump impressions. I just met him coincidentally here in LA, and he says, "You have no idea how famous you are in China." I was like, "In China?" He goes, "No." He goes, "No Westerners are famous in China, but you are." It's like, "Am I?" I met Steven Seagal's son, who told me that his school project, or the school project of all the young men in his school, was about me. And he goes to school in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Like, I can't go anywhere. So I am literally one of the most famous people on the planet. I'm not some nobody streamer who can do these silly things. I have very important things going on. I make hundreds of millions of dollars. I have to work with all sorts of people. And some of them are Jewish. That's fine. They know my point of view on Israel. They know my point of view on the genocide. They know my point of view on the ADL. But business is business. And they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. You have your point of view.
Bro said business is business. We're going to get this bag. He like, I promise you, we're going to get this bag. Now, one thing he's right on, and you guys might not know, you have to have experience to know. I've done business in China. I've been there many times. I've been to many towns and cities in China. And when he says Westerners are not famous in China, this man is telling the truth. If you're not Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan or Tupac, like legendary status, like you're nobody in China. And I really do mean that. I'm not confident that people in China will recognize Oprah Winfrey. I'm not confident that. I believe that Oprah Winfrey could walk down the street in China and people will be like, oh, black woman here. They might take pictures with her because she's black, but not because she's Oprah. China is very well insulated. They don't use Uber. They use Didi. Everything is different. They're very independent. They have a lot of self-respect for their own culture. They make every effort to block out Western influence, and mostly to their benefit. And he's 100% right. It's very hard for American business to penetrate American celebrities and culture. And I do believe him that he is known in China. And I can double down on the idea that Westerners are not famous in China. I do not believe Oprah Winfrey could be recognized in China. I think she and I are equally famous in China, which means not at all. Carrying on. Well, actually, I was on Chinese TV a couple of times, but not that anyone remembers in China, I'm sure. But
I have my point of view. We're all intelligent adults. We're rational. I disagree with them on loads. They disagree with me on loads. We get things done. If I start walking around attacking Jewish people, how the fuck does that work? That's not even rational. Someone said to me, they said, Andrew,
the amount of like doubling and tripling down on I'm not going to attack them. I'm cool with them. I collaborate with them. I do business with them. This man is really trying to protect the bag at a high level. And unfortunately, it seems to have gone to the level of protect the bag at the expense of integrity, consistency, and decency, which I never expected, bro, to like be a great representative of those things. Shout out to Deshaun, comes in by CashApp, supporting the work. He writes, peace to the saints. Appreciate you. May I also acknowledge via PayPal, shout out to Mr. Chapman. He writes, I find it funny that you're saying you're in the worst shape of your life when most people would pay money to be in your current shape. The assassin standard is legit. Peace to the saints. Oh, absolutely. And that's the difference between someone who's a leader and someone who's not. It's the difference between someone who has high standards and someone who has low standards. That's a difference between the saints and the wicked. And, you know, it don't mean I'm not packing out. You heard me? I'm still packing stuff out. So, you know, run up on me if you want to. Shout out to Andre. Just went and got dripped out at sasmbrand.com. Carrying on.
Dubai, the UAE, allows Jews into the country, and they have an embassy for Israel. So you can either be the UAE and get business done while publicly opposing the Israeli government and get things done and be a rational actor, or you can be some extreme country, which makes you a poor little shithole. And I think these streamers just have nothing to lose. They don't understand how the world works. They're not actually famous like I am. They haven't been around enough or been offered anything of significance to truly understand how you must negotiate life as a man. And they've not suffered for their views. If these people online screaming "Hail" every 5 seconds and doing the Hitler salute and saying we need to gas all the Jews, if any of them mattered, they wouldn't be online anymore.
But do you not think Nick Fuentes has suffered for his views?
Absolutely he has. Nick is someone who has suffered, which is why I respect Nick, which is why...
Wait. I want the whole audience to know this. How did he suffer? I want the whole audience to tell me. How exactly did Nick Fuentes suffer? I want the whole audience watch and listen. See if they name and explain how he suffered.
Hey, Nick, after the outrage of this little clip, said, I totally understand Andrew's position. Because Nick is a smart person. But then there was some other streamer.
But wait, how did Nick suffer? I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for someone to explain to me. I'm waiting. No, they just said Nick suffered, but they didn't explain how. This is how you know the internet is a fraud. Tate is get along to go along guy. He knows Nick has popularity with an emerging white supremacist audience, so he's just going along to get along. The guy interviewing him is a young idiot himself. Explain to me how Nick suffered. He was a privileged kid who went to college, came out of college, went straight into podcasting, has no background, did not have a stack of money to lose. How could he have suffered? I don't understand. How could he have suffered? He didn't have anything to lose that he earned. I lost what I earned. What did he lose? Strange. Look at this goofball right here. I'm pretty sure Nick was debanked. Okay, I was debanked. Did he have a pile of money that he got from working hard as hell for over 10 years? No. No, he didn't. Did he have corporations that need you to be banked? Was he running multiple corporations that require you be banked? You're not even thinking. That's the problem. I'm talking to people who don't even think. Like, how can you punish someone when they don't have any real money, they don't have any corporations, they have no history, and they don't have any significant savings? How could you punish them? It's minimal. I'm waiting for someone to say how he suffered.
Who are pretending that what I did was somehow wrong. But that's because they're nobodies. Nobodies, of course, have a view. But Nick seems to understand me quite well, and he's the most famous anti-Semite of all. And even he is saying, I understand Andrew's position. And he has suffered for his views, of course.
What's the suffering?
But even Nick is not that extreme. Nick
what
tells people on his show, don't go around screaming all the Jews, don't go around saying Hitler, don't let everyone know at your university you're an anti-Semite. That's not intelligent, that's not smart. Whereas other streamers are saying, no, you need to tell them all to fuck off.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Because I have some low IQ people in the chat. This is what I'm going to do. So for you low IQ people in the chat, and mind you, most people who follow Nerd Fuentes are low IQ whites or low IQ Indians or low IQ blacks, all low IQ. Not one intelligent, worthwhile person follows someone like Nerd Fuentes. This is what I'm going to do. Send in $1 using $1. It's usually $20. For you, it's $1 because I know most of you are broke because you're idiots. Using Venmo, PayPal, or CashApp. Send in $1, include your email address. I'm going to send you the link so that you can come on and explain. And I want you guys all to know no one's going to do it because the people who follow him are inferior in IQ, in appearance, in stature, in genetics, in accomplishments. It's all the losers. That's why they have to blame other people for their stagnation. I'll give you guys a little bit of time. Send in $1 using any of the means below. Include your email address. I'm going to send you the link to come on and explain to me what Nick Fuentes lost. Explain to me anything that shows that Nick Fuentes has done anything good for white people, or show me one thing that he lost. Any of it. I invite you. I'll give you guys time. Don't argue in my chat like cowards. Send your email address. I'll let you come on and you can speak up. If you argue on my chat, you will be blocked. Stand up like a man. Stand up like a man. I want you to notice something. I want to draw your attention to a couple facts. Number one, the blacks are ignorant enough that if I were speaking against white supremacy or Christianity, blacks would come up and defend something that doesn't even benefit them or belong to them. The nerd Fuentes followers are so cowardly that I clear the way for them to represent themselves and represent their inferior leader. And like him, they're cowards, so they no-show. I give all the time in the world. They won't show up. That is why I know if we had 10 saints and 100 of his people, we would dominate because they are weak and they are inferior. He does not produce strong, confident white men. He reinforces the weakness that is already there. The assassin. We produce strong, confident white men, black men, Arab men, Indian men, Asian men, women as well. This is the only thing moving. Now that we've made that demonstration, all of you cowards, you be silent in my comments like the coward that you are. Don't speak up in my comments because you're cowards and we don't honor your voice here. Thank you. Carrying on.
All the time. You can't win that way. You know, when you're actually a really important person in a culture war, and I am one of them, you win the culture war by pointing everyone in the correct direction and allowing momentum to do the rest. It is my job as the most followed man on the planet to 1% point in a direction. The matrix is controlling your life. And I get people to think about it, and then they research, and then they work it out themselves. If I don't...
Think about how this guy is starting to sound increasingly ludicrous. This guy's worse than a black preacher. As the most Googled, most important, richest man in the world, I'm speaking against the matrix because they control everything. They control the money. They control business and politics. They control everything, but they let me get rich and they let me get influential and they let me speak against them. You guys believe that? Doesn't even sound right. Doesn't even sound legitimate at all.
Don't allow people to work it out themselves. And
where's the interviewer? Is this dweeb going to ask any critical questions? Jesus, this kid's an idiot. When I see white people who are idiots, I'm like, how did that happen? Did you go to school in the ghetto? Were you raised up on the WIC program and you didn't get proper nutrients and your mom was a dope fiend and didn't breastfeed you? You grew up on formula powder? Like, why are you stupid? Where's the interviewer? Where'd this goofy redhead kid go?
Work it out themselves. If I don't allow people to work it out themselves and instead I explain it all, I get shot in the head. Then I can't.
Oh, okay, buddy. This guy's funny. This guy. Shout out to Frank supporting the work. Came in using the Stripe link. Appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Azim came in using the Stripe link as well. Shout out to the real one supporting the work. May I also acknowledge via Venmo, Mr. Chambliss writes, this is why I had difficulty supporting the cause in Gaza. There's a video of an Arab woman saying that the Africans need to be cleaned out to make way for the Arabs. Then he has a link here. Let's take a look, see. This one is on X. You know, the sad thing is it's hard to trust so much on the internet, but having traveled the Muslim world extensively, the Arab world, I do believe that this occurred. For some strange reason, it's not loading. Maybe the reason's not strange. But anyways, I appreciate you sending over that link. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
To win the war, it's my job to point people in the right direction and let them do the rest. Now, some of those people who are pointed in the right direction are so silly and so stupid and so treacherous, they will now turn around and yell at me, hey, you showed me the beginning, but you didn't show me the end. You're a traitor. You're a sellout. I showed you the beginning. Do you understand? If I show you all of it, I die and I can't show anyone else the beginning. People have died for far less. I know at the bottom and the top. We just saw Charlie Kirk eat a fucking bullet. They tried to put a bullet in Trump. You think?
I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't believe that. I just truly don't believe that the sniper was so precise that he could get that close to Trump's head, but so imprecise that it just happened to nick him on his ear. I think that was all fantasy performance. Primarily because a more appropriate target for a sniper at a great distance would have been like the vital organs, you know, like the chest, you have like the heart, Maybe center of the chest, the solar plexus. It would have been a much more reasonable target. So no, I don't believe that one bit, actually. And also, if there was any concerted effort to take out Trump, and I would think that the United States would have like one of the best, if not the best, Secret Service on the whole planet Earth. And the idea that some goofy kid with no military training whatsoever is able to put together that kind of an operation single-handedly. And it was swept away really quickly. We didn't find out if he had a team. We didn't hear what happened to him. Very curious. No, I think that is an utter lie. The government is extraordinarily deceitful. And that's why we are on so many imperialist adventures that only benefit the wealthiest class of Americans, as well as one particular country in the Middle East.
You think they're not going to try and put a bullet in me? You think they're not already considering it or planning it or thinking about it currently as we sit here right now?
As we sit here right now, and I'm the most famous man in the world and very rich, you think that they're not going to kill me? They'll let me get a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of influence and go on podcasts and say whatever I want. But you don't think they're going to kill me? No, Andrew, I don't think that they're going to kill you. In fact, I think they'll do something smarter than kill you. They'll use you. They'll employ you. They'll turn you into a mouthpiece. You know, the only thing better than killing you is to take you and make you into a puppet and use your enormous influence for their benefit. That would be very intelligent. And there's no doubt that we are dealing with people who are very shrewd and diabolical. So yes, I think the most sinister thing that could be done is being done. They're using you, which is why all of a sudden you have this new perspective. Indeed. 3D chess.
So for anyone who sits and believes I should martyr myself and I should just go as extreme as possible and anything to not sell out as they sit there as a nobody, they don't even understand the war. I am smart enough, and I always have been smart enough to know when somebody who is risking everything to give me a hint is doing something they don't have to do. And I understand.
Curious. Anyways, shout out to Will supporting the work via CashApp. I appreciate you. Now also acknowledge via Venmo, we have the first baller alert. Shout out to the ballers. Devontae comes in via Venmo, writes, peace to the saints supporting the work. I appreciate you. It's been a while. We don't get baller alerts so often. No clue why. Shout out to Omari. He writes, glad to catch this live. Came in on Venmo. Appreciate you. I also acknowledge Jalen writes, peace to the saints, support. Shout out to the real ones who really support this thing of ours. I also acknowledge Daz. He writes, do you believe that Andrew knows he is a part of the Matrix? Absolutely, he knows that. 1,000%. You cannot become that famous while being outside of the Matrix. Because what does it require to become that well known and that famous is that the gatekeepers open the gate. Open the gate, let you into the Matrix. Yes, of course he knows he's a part of the Matrix. He's very intelligent. He is exactly where he planned to be. Full stop. It's very apparent. He writes, or is it possible he's a tool thinking he's helping but is being used? No, he knows precisely what's going on. You don't become that well known without being very ruthless and intelligent, and he is both. And when you track through his background, you find that he's profit driven, and there's not a whole lot wrong with that except when you position yourself as some kind of noble luminary. We know he's profit driven and fame driven because he went and became a reality dating TV show guy, which is utterly ridiculous, beneath me wholly. Did I get offers? Absolutely. And I turned them down. I was even flown out to Hawaii. They was like, hey, we're going to pay you a bunch of money. You're going to be on this show. I think it's called Treasure Island or Treasure something or Island something. I can't recall. And the moment they told me what it would consist of, I said, no, absolutely not, because I'm not here as an actor. I'm here under my true legal name, Marquett Burton. And that commands respect the world over. And I will not tarnish it for any amount of money. I'll be going home now. That's the difference. That's the difference. Some people are ideologically driven. There is no compromise. They are 100% principle. And no matter how much it will hurt them, they will stick to the script. That's why Adolf ended up attacking Russia. If you read Mein Kampf, you'd read how much hatred he had for the Slavs and the Slavic people and his belief that they were going to expand eastward. He was truly ideological. There's no amount of money, there's no amount of persuasion that would stop that. Some people are ideological. Which is why when they said, hey, we'll give you fame and money, be on this reality show. You'll get to go on dates and helicopters and all expenses paid, and we'll pay you this amount of money per month, per week. I was like, no, I'm not gonna risk my name. Absolutely not. Because I'll never get it back. Someone takes my name, I'll never get it back. It's something I've always had. I came into this world very poor. My father was in prison for selling cocaine, crack. My mother was on drugs. My family was impoverished. The only thing I've always had was my name. And it's a great name. I made it that way. I didn't have a Gary Vaynerchuk situation where I always had money and my parents handed me a business. I didn't have a Andrew Tate's dad situation where his dad was a CIA guy plugged in with the United States government. Very intelligent chess guy. He handed Tate a last name and handed Tate a legacy. I didn't have any of that. I am the truth of what it is to be self-made. You cannot say that I'm not self-made when my father was a jailbird, drug dealer, and a thug who died prematurely because of those very reasons. And my mother struggled with addiction her whole life. If I didn't make me, who made me? I'm the truth. No one else can say that. I don't care who you go find. As soon as you start studying, you find out, they were liars. It's a Trump situation. He started with $1 million small loan. It's a Gary Vaynerchuk situation. I was an immigrant where my parents were immigrants. They gave you a whole business. You got a $1 million business you inherited. What are we talking about here? It's always that kind of situation. Or it's an Anton Daniels. You're a trust fund kid. Yeah, so you had two nice parents. Your dad died and you got all this inheritance and life insurance. You had all these brothers to help you out. Or it's a Andrew Tate situation. I'm outside of the matrix and I was poor. Your dad was in the CIA and you were poor? Your dad's a chess master, which would suggest that he's intelligent, and you were poor and no one helped you along? No, that doesn't add up. None of those stories add up. So I say respectfully, don't ever compare me to that, because they are not this. I came from the actual mud. I came from the gutter in real life, not in pretend land. That's why I demand my respect, because I actually made myself. No one else. No one will ever tell you what they did for me, because no one did anything for me. I got mine out the mud.
Stood they were on the right side of the fight, because I could just shut the fuck up and say nothing at all.
And so many people have.
And most people have. 99.9% of people have. Like, honestly, I get more attention on the street and I'm more well known than nearly every single movie star. It's the Grammys now. You get the list of everyone at the Grammys. Brad Pitt, George Clooney, cool. The rest of them, I don't know who the fuck they are. I don't know who these celebrities are. They say, hey, this celebrity said this, or this celebrity's dating this person. I don't know who these people are.
Yo, shout out to Tate, because I tell you what, I think what he's saying is probably true. It's probably true. And I know I like to talk my ish too. I pray, make a dua. I pray that if I ever reach that level of fame, I maintain some level of connection to the ground and some level of humility. Don't put your money on it, but I pray, make a prayer for me, because this Baldwin went on for like 20 minutes talking about how famous he is. Goddamn. I tried to fast forward through it, but he's still talking about it. Goddamn. And I'm not hating on him, because I think he's talking the facts. And you know what? I respect the facts. Shout out to the facts. I just don't find it fascinating.
There are
he don't have to convince me. I believe him. I don't know who he's convincing. I assume the redhead kid believes him too. I wish he'd go on to the next topic.
Movies, there are too many Netflix shows. Everyone's in a fucking movie. No one even knows. None of these people even matter. Why are they in movies and I'm not? Because they shut the fuck up. Why am I not the face of a fragrance or a clothing brand?
Come on.
I'm the right demographic. All the young boys love me. There'll be billions of generated dollars. Why? Because I won't shut the fuck up. So I'm turning away billions of dollars. And some dipshit's going to sit there going, you sold out, bro.
If Tate said that he's the most famous guy in the world, and you know what color is your Bugatti? What color is your Bugatti? You know he's wealthy. Is he saying that he's mad that he doesn't have more fame and more money? This is sick, homie. Like, And by the way, my reggae album will be dropping soon. There's a song on there. It's called No Money, No Worry. And it's so important that you guys soak that up, because Tate is showing us the worst of Western excess, which is the idea that you're rich and you still hunger so much for money. You're already rich. You're hungering for money. You're famous. You're hungering for fame. When will you be satiated? We cannot be animals like this. This is one of the beautiful things about religion. One of the beautiful things about the Deen of Islam. It's one of the beautiful things about Christianity, even though I don't subscribe to slave religions, any of them. But it lets you know that money, wealth, greed, this is not the goal of life. This is not your daily pursuit. This is why spirituality and being connected with other good people is so critical, because you become lost. This man is lost. This man is lost. He just told us that he's the most famous man in the world. He's already said many times he makes hundreds of millions, and he's arguing about not having more money and more fame. I mean, am I the only person just seeing how ludicrous this is? And here's the worst part. Here's the worst part. I'm not the average person watching. I'm well off, even with how those people took a tremendous amount of money from me. Tremendous. I'm still well off. He's telling this to people who are low income. Imagine saying you make hundreds of millions of dollars and then complaining about not making more money in front of an audience that's low income. It's like the level of connection to reality and the consideration of other people's plight is extraordinary. How is the leader complaining to the follower? What? It's bizarre. This man is sick. This man needs a therapist. This man legitimately needs a therapist.
It's like,
I don't know what this white kid is thinking right now, but shout out to him for wearing a proper suit. I don't know what he's thinking, but I'd be thinking, dude, are you serious?
you know, the sad thing about it, truthfully, Jack, when that happens, you start to understand why everyone sells out. You start to sit there and go, what?
They sell out because they're sellouts. Marquett, well, what do you mean they sell out because they're sellouts? That sounds redundant. Well, yes, anyone who, you're a kid and you grow up wanting to be in the movies or on the television or to be an influencer or to be famous, you're an attention-seeking personality. You require the admiration of others. So if the spotlight is cut off, you feel like you're dying inside because you lack the feeling of self-worth and love. You need love from strangers. Of course they're going to sell out because they have no feeling on the inside of being contented and being worthwhile. Of course they're going to sell out because there was nothing on the inside ever. It was always empty. That's why they have to pull in attention. An industry called the entertainment industry, where you're a jester or a man puts on a dress to entertain others or to be accepted into the Matrix or the Boule or the Illuminati, whatever they're calling themselves. Of course those people sell out. They never had dignity. Why wouldn't they sell out? They didn't start with dignity. Come on now. What are we talking about here?
What the fuck am I fighting for? Why am I trying to help these clowns? I show them the beginning. I was the one who woke the world up only 2 years ago.
Word?
It was me. I went to jail for it. I suffered for it. Me, alone, by my...
Wait, you didn't suffer for waking up the world. You suffered because you used to run a seedy webcam business, fleece dudes out of their money with adult content that is detrimental to all who are involved, the people who create it and the men who consume it. You were prosecuted for your dealings with low women. You were not prosecuted for being a revolutionary. What are you talking about? What is going on?
Myself, I did it. And now they're saying, you showed me the beginning, but not the end because you're a traitor.
Here's the bizarre thing. Like, you incriminate yourself on live streams. You were the guy. Like, I got a PhD, pimping degree. Yeah, I show you how to make them work. I'll take their passports and then I'll tell them that their family doesn't love them. And then I'll text them this and then I'll take control of them. I'll make them work and I manipulate them like this. Like, You taught a course on it. You taught a course on how to do something that is unethical and hurtful to women and men. What do you mean you were persecuted for your beliefs? You were persecuted for your greed. What are you talking about? Who believes this nonsense? I'd have respected Amorphe to just skipped over this. This is nonsense.
You can't show the end.
I can't show the end. Not that I don't know the end. I can't show the end. I know so much more than I can say. But if I say it, we're going to lose. Because unless I keep showing people the beginning.
Damn. You know what? I can't even hate Tate because there are enough people who are completely brainless to believe this. I swear. There are enough people who are brainless to believe what he's saying. And sometimes I see certain things. I'm like, how is this? The dude clavicular. This psychopath, bro's like, yeah, I use meth. I use steroids. I get surgeries. And then you got all these goofy ass white guys who are like hitting themselves in the face. Like, yeah, I'm getting a chiseled jaw. Yeah, I'm just going to get the bones to swell up. And I'm like, who is watching this? Like, who thinks this is a good idea? This is complete psychopathy. So I know that the average person in the society is an imbecile. Like, I'm scared. That's why I don't drive on the freeway. I kid you not. If I can take the streets somewhere, I take the streets. Why? Because I don't want to be at the mercy of other people's stupidity and poor decision making. So I know there's someone watching this thinking that this makes sense when this is completely ludicrous. It's extraordinary. Anyway, shout out to Ramon supporting the work via Venmo. I appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Kyle. He writes, hit you with a Venmo earlier, Saint. Don't think you saw it. I am just a touch behind. Shout out to Dominic. He writes, peace of Saint's tuition. We all know Tate wouldn't be on this podcast years ago in the height of his fame. I never heard of the song, but is this song really the issue or is it something bigger? Okay. That's a really good point. Yeah. And, you know, it's almost like he's trying to speak into existence and reaffirm himself in terms of being at the center. You know, times are quite fascinating. And someone like Tate, who certainly has reached an apex, I can only imagine that coming down from that is not such a good feeling. And there's no doubt that when you climb to the heights, you can see farther than anyone else, but also you can fall down farther than anyone else. So that's a very good point. Shout out to Seven writes, peace to you, Saint. Have you taken time to rest after your wealth sprints? You know what? I've been hustling hard, but I've been making sure that I'm nourished and I'm very well rested. And we're about to turn up even harder. I'm going to be making a stop with some of the Saints in one of the sections. I'm not going to say where for security purposes, but you know, we're going to link up with the Saints. They have the security detail all ready to go. Then from there, I'm going to go over to Asia. We have the drip trip coming up. For those of you who will be there, it's going to be a phenomenal time. I can't wait. If you haven't gotten your ticket for the drip trip, get one. We welcome you to come. Just type in 2026 drip trip SASN. I think it should come up. And we'll see you in Asia. We're going to get custom drip made head to toe. You dig? Custom shoes, custom trousers, custom jackets, custom vests, custom shirts, you name it. I'm very excited. Seven writes, how did you come to find out about the dangers of white refined sugar? I just try to stay away from sugar and things that are sweet. Every now and then you might have some fruit to, enjoy. Every now and then your old lady might bake you a cake. But just generally, you can tell what is not good. When you exercise vigorously, you can feel every piece of food that you've eaten. I kid you not. You can feel if you ate something that was too spicy, if you ate something that made you bloated, if you ate something that is not fuel, you can feel it. And that is when you are a natural man and you're connected to source and you're connected to that which is natural. You can feel it. You don't need to read the back of the ingredients box. You can feel the goodness of the food or the dangers of the food. And I highly recommend you get with a woman who is not fat, a woman who can manage portions and follow directions, and that will nourish you. Shout to Iram writes, Assalamu alaikum. I pray you are well, inshallah. I appreciate that. I am well, alhamdulillah. I also acknowledge Seven. He writes, what are your thoughts on Trump's most recent threat against Canada regarding potential deal with China? He noted 100% tariffs. I think that Trump should go hard on Canada. I think he should invade them. He should make them a vassal state. Don't give them any voting rights and, take over the whole of North America. So, yeah, there's that. I think they're doing a very bad thing in terms of American empire, inviting the Chinese in. But one thing you'll notice consistently when it's time to invade a white country or a Western country, all of a sudden everyone's giving speeches and the news is a buzz and there's all these issues and you got to negotiate and talk about it and tariff and change your mind. Taco Trump, right? Trump always backs down. You got to do all that stuff. But when it's a global South country, a country with colored people or Muslims or people who are not white as a majority, they're invading, they're kidnapping presidents. They're doing the most gangster ever. I mean, Trump might as well drop a mixtape at this point. Shout out to Jefferson. He writes, I also sent a Venmo earlier. Okay, we're heading down. I'm doing it backwards right now. Shout out to Eric supporting the work. Writes, Peace of the Saints tuition. Now, also acknowledge all the folks getting dripped up. Jefferson writes, a wise man once remarked that people are constantly telling you who they are. A particular YouTuber could have benefited greatly from this advice had he read a particular book. Mr. Burton, would you please refresh the audience on why this is great advice? Oh, absolutely. In short, I'll say, and the reason I wrote The Black Box is because I was encouraged to write it. I was asked to write this by an English professor that I had when I was 16 years old. I didn't get around to writing it until I almost died 2 times in back-to-back Category 5 hurricanes in Puerto Rico. But in this book, there's great knowledge that tells you how to navigate today. And one of the things that it notes is that people will say many things. They will demonstrate who they are. And when they show you, you should certainly believe them. Take it seriously. Someone shows you they're a friend, shows you they're an enemy. Take it seriously. Shows you, demonstrates. Doesn't matter if they say they're family or you've been taught that they are family. If they behave as an enemy, you must treat them accordingly, because know this: if your mother drops poison in your glass and you drink from it, you will die, even if she loves you and it was an accident. If your enemy drops sugar in your glass, you'll drink it and you'll be fine, even though they hated you and wanted you to die. So it is the actions of one, it is the deeds that must be observed and respected and abided by. And I always tell you guys that stupidity is evil. There's some people we wish they were better, we wish they were smarter, but if they're not, they're not. We have to deal with it accordingly. Those of you who have good nature, even myself, sometimes it hurts me to feel like I've been mean. It doesn't feel good in my spirit to be mean. Sometimes I'm debating people, a lot of these black bootlickers who put forward the Christian religion, which is a white supremacy religion that has been very detrimental to the black people. And in fact, much more than that, it's been detrimental to most of the planet Earth. Colonialism, genocide, enslavement. And I can see that some of these people are just low IQ and or lost, brainwashed, not willfully malicious, but I know that I must argue against their ideology vehemently with great force and sometimes meanness so that we can save some of the youth, the onlookers who are watching, so that we can spread the message. And it is what must be done. And what has been in great lack, especially among the black peoples of the earth, or the colored peoples broadly, has been the ability to do what is necessary. It has been the ability to appropriately be hard-hearted sometimes, always too kind and warm and welcoming even to your enemies, and you suffer greatly for it. Always inviting everybody to the cookout, even if their goal is to come to the cookout, steal all the food, and take everyone's life. You still invite them. Extraordinary. Foolishness. That time is over. Shout out to Darius. He writes, Marquett Hampton Sr. in a real way. I also acknowledge Mr. Robinson writes, tuition came in via Venmo. Shout out to Mr. Hernandez writes, tuition, Peace of the Saints. I had a teacher in the 4th grade named Mr. Hernandez. He did a great job. Fine fella, fine fella. I actually had some great teachers in elementary school, and I was very privileged that they were men, because elementary school usually has a bunch of women. I had great male teachers in elementary school, and they were actually men. They weren't Skittle guzzlers. So it was to my great benefit. Shout out to Anthony, came in supporting the work via Venmo, writes, Peace of the Saints. I also acknowledge Kyle with the bowler alert. He writes, Peace of the Saints. Do we have a timeline for last night's session to be uploaded? Oh, yes, absolutely, we do. It will be uploaded by tonight. And he's referring to the course that we have, the practicum, how to do AI, web development, create apps, with no coding, no experience needed. We did a 5-hour session. So I'll tell you what will be uploaded. We have the video of the entire 5.5 hour session. That'll be uploaded. We'll have written notes, a ton of them. That'll be uploaded. We'll have a slide deck that we used during the presentation. That'll be uploaded. And we'll have an expense sheet, because not only am I teaching you guys how to create technology, I'm teaching you how to get paid off of it, how to run it like a business, how to operate when you're in the startup phase, how to operate when you're a CEO in a developed corporation. And I can teach you because I've actually done these things. And so we also have an expense list. So that'll be uploaded as well. You'll have access to all of those things before you wake up tomorrow. Carrying on.
The war's over and they're going to put a bullet in me. So it makes me sit and calculate all the money I've turned down, all the beautiful red carpet events, all the pussy I could have fucked, all the fun I could have had. Could have been on fucking Jeff Bezos's fucking yacht. Could have done all these things. I've done none of it because I wanted to point people in the right direction. And what thanks do I get?
He's a saint now. Used to be a producer of adult content. Now he's a saint. Extraordinary. The conversion. He's kind of like one of those girls who were slores and now they're born again. Now they're, what do they say? Now they're celibate. He's a slore. He's a Miami slore who is now celibate. Shout out. Kyle wrote via Venmo. Paid videograms. He says potential opportunity. Paid videograms are being discontinued on Facebook. I don't even know what videograms are. Users of this feature will need a replacement. Search videograms on Facebook to find the creators that used it. What are videograms?
What thanks do I get when I finally fly to America after a year and I meet up with a couple guys and they play a silly song? And instead of saying, yeah, gas all the Jews, I sit and say, look, I understand why the song's offended some people. I didn't play it. I didn't actually play the song. Don't you think everyone panicking about this song just proves the Jews have power? You're a sellout. It makes you think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell out. You know what would teach the world a lesson, Jack? If I sold out. If tomorrow I took a $500 million check and went and made Hollywood movies and
What is going on? Listen, in the chat, I need to know, does this make sense to you guys? This guy sounds ridiculous and repetitive, very, very repetitive, but he sounds ridiculous. Does this make any sense to anybody? Do I need a bottle of Henny to understand what this dude is saying? I don't know what this ball is saying. Wait, did bro say that he was a freedom fighter? No, that's crazy. Tate said he was a freedom fighter. This nigga, Andrew Tate, thinks he's Nelson Mandela. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Okay, so this is a videogram. Let me see what the heck this is. No clue what that is. Okay. Thank you for the note, Kyle. I guess when we touch bases, yeah, you can elaborate on that one. And this is one of the things we do at the Drip Trip. We have a lot of time to, fellowship.
Are A-list famous, who no one gives a fuck about them, who just sit on a stream and run their mouths and have to be controversial to even get any views. Thinking they are moving the needle is the biggest mistake you can make, because they're not moving any fucking needles. I've had conversations in private rooms off camera that have moved the needle more than these clowns will ever move in their fucking life.
What conversations are you speaking of, Andrew? We're very curious what you share. You see, when I see people like Andrew or Nick or Kanye or Candace, I say, what's their organization called? Oh, they don't have an organization, Marquett. Aha. Interesting. The people who follow them, what are they called? What's their ideology? Do they have an idea? Do they have any ideology? Do they believe in anything other than hatred for others? No, Marquette, they're just scapegoating. They're scapegoats. Interesting. And these people who are uber famous, can someone tell me when they've organized a group of people, they showed up, maybe gave a speech, organized people, did a march or protest, or like created some change or some social unrest in an otherwise ordered matrix environment? No, Marquett, they never use their influence to do anything like that, Marquett, because that doesn't pay money. Oh, okay. Interesting. Fascinating. What the hell is this ball talking about?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And I'm honestly...
I don't know whose son this is. I never heard of this kid in life. Has anyone else heard of this kid or seen this kid? We got a little Carrot Top Jr. over here. Anyways, shout out to Orlando. He writes, peace to the saints. Keep it going. Sir, yes, sir. Came in via Venmo. Oh, he came back. He writes, keep it going for the true supporters. Did it Twiz Ice. Now that makes it a baller alert. Shout out to the ballers. You dig. May I also acknowledge Brad. He writes, peace to the saints. Are you working on some soul music? I've had The Black Man Was First on repeat. Oh yeah, man, that's a cold one. You know what? I'm not working on any more music. I also would advise people not to submit music. We're not trying to flood the market. I've reached a great cutoff point because the reggae album hasn't even come out. So you're asking if I'm creating any more music. The reggae album hasn't even been released yet. It should be hitting all of your places that you stream music at the top of this coming week. And all of those songs were well selected. They all have meaning. They address some of the things you hear me speaking about. The situation in Sudan, which has been going on for a long time and feels hopeless and largely ignored. The situation in Palestine, which has been very popular, but is kind of still going in the wrong direction. Ongoing colonialism in the mind of many, particularly the blacks. Talks about who the true enemy is. Talks about not letting money rule your life and rule your mind. So with that, we're going to see all of the ideas that I speak about put into music, and music has a spiritual way that it penetrates the human being. And let's let that soak up enough before we release more. Let's take some of those tracks to the top and see what kind of influence we could have. So often, we move too fast in an era such as this one. We need to, let things settle a bit.
Prove your point further. I'm a little surprised at some of the things you've said thus far, in terms of how
he's barely said anything. He's just repeated.
much risk. Like, a lot of people don't share the full truth because I do full research.
Yep.
At least who is really in power would you say it? And never heard anything I'm seeing. I thought that was a little lot.
Is he like sit on his stream to his few viewers and stream? Yeah, the problem with talking about him is he
just kind of like, let me avoid, like, with everything you've just said, having been through a lot, it's just kind of like, let me avoid another tragedy.
Yeah, the problem with talking about him is he likes it because he needs it for his stream.
Wait, who is him? Does anyone in the live chat know who him is?
So he's going to take this clip and he's going to sit on his stream to his few viewers and he's going to make a big deal of it. First things first, I don't think I sold him out, and I'll tell you why.
Are they talking about Sneeko? I assume maybe they're talking about Sneeko. And these internet guys are all very phony because I thought Sneeko and Tate had beef, but if I recall correctly, just recently, Sneeko was a part of the little entourage that was there in Miami, making the hateful comments. So like the beef is always fake, and even the friendships are fake. So the enmity and the friendships, which is to say the hate and the love, is always fake, because in their industry, it's public, but also it's most profitable when you collaborate, right? And being that you get the most profit when you collaborate, they're always going to collaborate because it gives them what they're truly chasing, which is the money and the attention. So in as much as that's the case, you can never take the friendships for being genuine, nor can you even take the hate and the beef to be genuine. And that's the challenge with being a fan or being caught up in this era, is that you watch things, but you're always watching things that are fictional. Even when you're watching a live stream, which is supposed to be representative of reality, these people are not supposed to be actors, but you can surely know that you are being bamboozled because there's so much pretend, dishonesty, and fakeness, all in the name of profit.
Firstly, he hasn't been my friend for a very long time. He's not my boy. He's not like Tristan. I hung out with him years ago when he was emulating me, trying to be me, desperately. I made his career by speaking to him. Otherwise,
Yo, I'm going to tell you 100%. He is correct. Sneeko has definitely tried to be Andrew Tate. There's just no doubt about that. And they had their little falling out, which maybe was a fake falling out. It's so strange that he has these negative words towards Sneeko. They're sitting right across from each other. I don't even know why they'd be in the same place. He's staring at Sneeko. I don't know why. Sneeko looks, again, like he doesn't speak any English whatsoever. Sneeko looks like he's about to say something in a foreign language. You just pick one. Sneeko completely looks like a degenerate.
He would have stayed a nobody forever. Instead of showing me thanks for that, he started, every time I wouldn't reply to his texts, go on stream and cry in some way and complain about me. It was very bitchy. It was very weird. Like, he'd beg to be my friend one side and then do a stream insulting me the next side. Back and forth, anything for views. Very strange. And I'm not the only person he did it to. And then I said to Tristan, anyone who names themselves Sneeko, like, you're naming yourself Sneaky. Imagine I was saying, hey, my name's Rat. It's a fucking shit name, and it's weird. So I was like, I'm not going to talk to him anymore. So I didn't talk to him for 4 long years. I'm going to avoid this guy because he's just weird. And then I get to Miami. I speak to Clav, and Clav is with Nick Fuentes, and he begs for Sneeko to come. And I said, Sneeko's weird. Begs and begs and begs.
He said, and I say, Sneeko's weird. Oh, man, this is good stuff. Shout out to Mr. Chambliss. He writes, I got a son on the way. You know what I'm going to call him? I'm going to call him Baby Marquett. That's right. Just like the saint and the sinner. Losers always hating the winner. After Ether, classic leader, master teacher, you taught me to master my mind. Truly yours. Yo, shout out to the Saints who got that album. You can check out all the bars I got for you, The Saint and the Sinner, on Apple Music, anywhere you stream music, Spotify, Pandora, all the rest of it. Carrying on.
Here we are. Who's on the internet insulting me? Sneaky. Sneaky's now on the internet with an opinion. Luckily, he doesn't matter. Sneaky doesn't matter. When this controversy's over, he's going to have to go back to making videos no one watches and trying to find some other controversy. He's not in business. He's not making any money. He's not close to the Trump family. He's not moving politics. He's not, no Hollywood actor wants him. He isn't connected to the royal family in Dubai. He isn't doing anything. He's not in a position where if he says the wrong thing, the royal family in Dubai will say, sorry, you can't have your political protection and your golden visa. Sorry, we can't give you the Emirati passport anymore. Like, he's at such a low level. He doesn't even contemplate the world above him. He doesn't understand why some people can't do what he's doing because he doesn't matter. So I don't think I sold him out. I was told he played the song because Justin and I were playing country music, and then Justin's phone got taken off him and the song was put on. Everyone said Sneeko put it on. So when I went there, I said, well, I didn't put on the song. Sneeko put it on. I mean, there's no point in trying to hide who put on the song. It's on fucking camera who put on the song. If it wasn't him who put on the song, then I was incorrectly informed. As if I give a fuck anyway. It doesn't matter who put on the song because it wasn't me, right? Why did I not play the song? Truthfully, thinking I need to do something. It was Sneeko. Still think it's Sneeko. Oh, he's a full-grown man. He's a big guy. Big tough Sneeko has so much to say about me. Go.
That was crazy. Bro said big tough Sneeko. I think we can all agree that no one views Sneeko as big or tough at all. But also, we have to say, Tate, you were literally sitting right across from Sneeko in a literal sense. You were sitting actually right across from him. As they say, where was all this energy? Where was it? Very curious. This is a bit snaky to me. Maybe your name should be Sneeko. Sneeko. You were hanging out with him. You were looking at a clip we just saw. Now you're dissing the crap out of him. Interesting.
Defend yourself on the podcast. But he doesn't want to defend himself. He wants me to defend him for him, and me to risk everything for him, and me to deal with all the political problems from different administrations around the world, and for me to go to a court in England and be facing hate speech charges for 5 years in jail for him. And if I go jail, will he write to me? No. He'll go on stream and go, Andrew's in jail. Because he sits there in front of us to make... No.
I've had all these guys on the podcast, except for Sneeko. And
He'll come here and say nice podcast. Then he'll do a stream saying it was a shit podcast. The guy's a weirdo. He'd be like, what the fuck?
that I do not think it would be him because I know Clav very personally.
I know Clav very personally. I'd be curious to know how. And also why that would be something you'd admit, because bro is definitely not normal. Like, bro is a train wreck.
And then everyone else, it wouldn't make any sense. Nick as well. Miami.
I don't think he's happy about it.
With the A about what happened at the club in Miami. So, and then everyone else, it wouldn't make any sense. Nick as well. So it checks out. But did you have a conversation with the A about what happened at the...
I'm in the lines, but he wouldn't be happy about that. Isn't it interesting that people who are truly at the top of A-list fame, like Kanye, eventually realize that they're going to get in a new form? They're not going to be able to enjoy oxygen for much longer if they continue down the path they're on. Myself, Kanye, etc. And if you're truly smart, let's do a thought experiment.
Okay, now let's see if he means greedy and selfish, or does he mean smart? Let's listen.
If I was a nobody account or a nobody on the internet or a retard called Sneaky, and it was my intention to convince everybody in the world that there was a particular group of people that had nearly unlimited power in Western society, surely I'd be very thankful for the A-list celebrities, which are 10,000 times larger than me, who go to bat and point everyone in the right direction and then publicly say, I can't do this anymore for unknown reasons. Aren't we helping you? Aren't we showing that your theory is correct? Oh, no.
The weird, sad thing is it seems like Tate has kind of, like, we're 20 minutes in. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like it's been an hour because it just seems so repetitive and uninteresting. Like, damn, Tate has for sure, like, bro, hit the peak and he's on his way down. It seems like he just ran out of ideas or ran out of, like, fire. When he's not saying crazy things, he's not very interesting, unfortunately. I'm just going to see if I can forward this a little bit. What's the next thing? It says Andrew Tate shares how the UK still wants to send him, I'm assuming, to jail.
Wow. And they threw the case out.
Okay.
2 months later.
All right, so we're still talking about jail. Like, I don't like talking about jail. Okay, how platforms use rules to selectively silence. Okay.
They don't give a fuck.
It seems to me, Andrew, that after doing this podcast for a while, the one thing that people are not allowed to say is they're not allowed to incite violence in any way. Yeah. And that seems to be the thing that they're afraid of. Would you say that's mostly true?
I'd say that's mostly true, but unfortunately it's open-ended. So if you make a law saying you can't incite violence, they can interpret that any way possible, because you can now just insult someone and they can say that you're trying to dehumanize them or make people feel a certain way about them so that you do incite violence against them. So it's such an open-ended...
Is that why the song freaked you out particularly?
The song didn't even freak me out. The thing that's crazy is when the song...
Freaked you out? That's like white girl language. You need to improve your vocabulary, young man. Anyways, let's see what else. What's this one about?
Let's talk about Charlie Kirk. Why did they not just put him in jail? Because no one's going to believe Trump's DOJ prosecuting Charlie Kirk. Doesn't make sense. He's Trump's friend. Why would the Department of Justice try and prosecute Charlie Kirk? He's squeaky clean. Taxes paid. He's not like me. I made it easy for them. He's fucked 1,000 women. Call him up. Get him. Right? He ain't fucked 1,000 bitches. He ain't running around fucking with all these girlfriends like me.
Very vulgar. Terrible example. I mean, we all curse every now and then, but just the number of sheer curse words is just... Anyway, shout out to Mr. Chambliss. He writes, interesting how Tate says that Sneeko cannot call political officials, and he names Trump and the royalty in the UAE. This is implying that Tate can directly contact the UAE and Trump's officials. Absolutely. That's what he was seeking to imply, which would also suggest that for his previous comments, either they were not terribly offensive, or he's always been a part of the matrix, or he's been forgiven for making some kind of a sacrifice. And the question is, what is that sacrifice? May I acknowledge Constantine writes, tuition came in via Venmo. Appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Mr. Kobo came in via PayPal supporting the work. Appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. Let's work.
They went through his life. How are we going to get him in jail? How are we going to get him in jail? How are we going to get him in jail? You know what? There's literally nothing here. Next. Bang. I'm lucky with me. I gave them the layup. If I had lived squeaky clean, like a dummy, if I had done everything right, they would have just killed me. But instead, they're like, we have to fix this Andrew Tate problem. Killing people is messy, and it makes them a martyr. It can make them bigger. And even as a government, killing someone in another country, even the Brits killing someone in Romania.
Yeah, this whole story's not adding up right now because, as they say, niggas die every day, B. Niggas die every day, B. So this whole story, I don't think it's really adding up. Shout out to Das. He writes, big homie, after every practicum, I leave inspired. I've learned so much about business, communication, software, and mindset, and the mindset of a boss. Thank you for the unparalleled game. I know I will be successful because you are arming me with the tools to do so. Sass or nothing. I appreciate that beautiful, positive message. And thank you for sharing that with the folks who don't know. And every time we get in that practicum, it's about 25 or so of us, just all hustlers, and we grind through for 5 to 7 hours straight each go. There's a beautiful feeling there, and it always feels like time well spent. I never think, I wish I was doing something else. And that's great. That's life well lived. That's what it's about, to be earning for yourself, to be investing in the things that are going to make you great and enjoying it at the same time. I don't remember that feeling in school.
I know how this stuff works. Trust me. They have to speak to the Romanian government. They have to try and clear it all. They have to understand their agent might get arrested. Then there's an international incident to get him out. Even the Russians, when they killed that guy in Germany, you can look it up. He got arrested. He was in jail for 3 years before Putin could swap him. The governments, when it comes to personal assassinations outside of drone strikes in third world countries, even they don't like to really do it. Macron could kill Candace, but even he is like on a...
You're speculating right now. I don't buy any of this.
So when put him in jail, he was a fucking...
And does anyone know offhand the name of the person who shot at Trump? Interesting.
Fighter. He sold weed when he was 18. He's fucked every girl he fucked. Too fat. Of course.
That's crazy. Tate said he sold weed when he was 18. Like, that was bad. I sold weed when I was 11. And that's my whole point, is like, these people want to... they want to pretend as though they had a, it was tough for me story. Like, I wish I was in an Andrew Tate situation. I wish I was in a Gary Vaynerchuk situation. I wish I was in a Donald Trump situation. I'd give anything to have been born with a silver spoon. When you're talking about you sold weed at 18, you could have just got a job. So I'm not impressed. You should have just got a job. I sold weed at 11 because you don't get a job when you're 11. You see the difference? This stuff is just crazy, these people.
I gave it to him on a play. I fucked everyone. So Nick's problem is he had
this ball right here. Yeah, he's done. I have ordained that Tate will be no more in 5 years. And it's not because anyone's trying to remove him from visibility. It's because he said all the crazy things he can say. And now we're finding that he doesn't have ideas and he doesn't have principle. And as a result, he will disappear.
Hasn't given it to him on a plate. Because people talk about my human trafficking accusations. You can look it up right now. The British government took 3.2 million pounds of my money for tax evasion too. So they got me for that. They get me for this. They're just like, just fucking...
That's vicious.
Get him. And I just keep giving it to him, laying it up. I'm a dumbass. So, but it saved me, or I would be dead. Nick's problem, and I really care about Nick, is that it's almost like...
Stop it. You don't care.
I have lots of businesses. And I have a restaurant. And in my restaurant, I let my staff steal a little. Because if I let them steal none, they quit. And if I let them steal too much, I don't make any money. So I make sure that I allow them to steal enough so that they feel happy to go to work and they think they're winning. But I am also on it enough to stop them stealing so much I don't make profit. Like, you have to give you have to give a little. If you're too strict, it gets worse.
Funny. This guy's funny.
I gave the enemy the second strike, and Nick didn't, or he hasn't, or he won't, or he can't. And Charlie didn't, and we look what happened to him. So,
bro is making up the most ridiculous stuff. Anyways, what's the next topic? Why liberals actually... Let's see.
Liberals aren't threatened by us. Liberals like the fight. They like arguing with us. Liberals like feeling like they're somebody. Liberals are the most argumentative, mentally ill retards on the planet. If you put 10 liberals in a room, all they're going to do is fight against each other because someone's going to accidentally forget to use a pronoun. But they'll all ally against you. Liberals need you, and they need me. Liberals need Charlie so they can stay friends. Liberals need the common enemy. Liberals don't want to get rid of their enemies. They want to sit and argue with their enemies. They want to feel important. They want to feel morally superior. Liberals aren't out to kill important conservative figures. personally. I mean, I know they're saying it was some liberal, some guy. Thought experiment.
Okay, so right now what we're going to do, folks, is I want to encourage all of you guys to head on over to Twitch. We're going to finish this off on Twitch. And it looks like we actually have the majority left. It's 2 hours, 40 minutes. We're only 50 minutes in. So we got quite a bit of time. I'm looking forward to getting this in. Sounds like we have a thought experiment he's about to break down to us. So we're going to head on over to twitch.tv/MarquettDevon. I thank those of you who have already been there watching. That's where we will resume this. So I'll give you guys some time now to make that transition. See you shortly. Mike says, Tate is definitely a part of the system. Bruh, you telling me, man. You telling me. Give you guys a little bit of time to transition. And this stream will only be on twitch.tv/MarquettDevon. Did you say something? No. You need something? Okay. Okay, folks. So we should be live just on twitch.tv. Let's go ahead and keep it rocking.
Maybe not.
I mean, let's look at the Butler, Pennsylvania story. That dude got up on the roof with the rifle, faggot on the roof. I made a joke of it, and he in front of the Secret Service, and he just put his rifle together and just tried to kill the president, and then they instantly blasted him after he pulled the trigger, so they were already aiming at him, and just some guy, and he was radicalized, and just some guy. It's all just a crock of shit. It's all just a lie. It's all just made up. And if I'm wrong, then the FBI or the DOJ or someone should stand up and say, here, Andrew, you're wrong. Here's why. And I should say, everyone to work out we're lying even worse. So,
Andrew, in your position, do you find yourself more worried about a radicalized individual or like another group?
I am far more worried about a government action than a radicalized individual. Somebody, the government, kill to do it. He's on the planet. If you go to Turkey, or you go to Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, any of these countries, and if you hung around there for a while, and if you knew the people I know, eventually you'd end up in conversations with people who would try and convince you to do extreme things, dangerous things. And they work for foreign intel agencies. What have they...
Funny about this interview is yesterday. I'm not going to say too much about my experiences doing all this, but I'm sure I've had some experiences that you've had along the way in what you've been doing. And I was like, should I just quit all this?
This is so insincere. Number one, who is this kid? I never even heard of this kid. So what do you mean you've had experiences similar to Tate? Tate was the most famous person on earth, and you're someone I've never seen, never heard of. And you look nondescript. You look like 1,000 other white dudes in Sigma Chi fraternity. Like, bro, stop it and knock it off immediately. More importantly, you're not going to stop that gig because it's the easiest gig on earth. And I'm sure your wealthy family set you up really well to be able to do this instead of a real job that adds value. And you're not even great at it because you've not asked any meaningful questions. You've given zero pushback.
And then someone's like, Tate's in LA. And I was like,
and it's truthfully because people are shit. Like, an individual person is okay. We know individuals who are good. But en masse, people fucking suck, bro. And as you just streaming to basically nobody, barely paying the rent in a small apartment in New York.
What do you think he doesn't realize? Is it alliances?
I think that most people are exactly where they belong. I think that there is a strange cosmic justice in the universe.
Now, that's for sure correct. I tell you what, if today you are broke, if today you are fat, if today you're in a situation you don't want to be in, if today you're with a woman you don't want to be with, if today things are not how you want them, it's because of you. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. It's because of you, 100%. And if you'd like to change that, then make some changes. Make some changes. Get a book that you need to read. Get a course that you need to invest in. Go speak to someone who knows something you need to know. Take a trip to somewhere you've never been. Go be around people who are interesting, intelligent, and ambitious. They can raise up your standard. Go do something. Whatever situation you're in, it's because of you. Unless you're a child. But I don't think there are any minors watching this.
And all of the people who suck are trapped because they suck. And the people who escaped because they don't suck. Do you understand? It's all.
I think I just realized the key to Andrew's success in communication. He communicates at a third grade level. What he just said, a third grader could have understood. Extraordinary. I think he has 13 words in his vocabulary, which is 3 more than Donald Trump.
Almost like you have. This is an easy concept to understand when it comes to your physical body. You have the physical body you want. Because if you wanted to be bigger, you'd train harder. I've never seen anybody train in the gym every single day as hard as possible, eat right, and not get bigger. We're humans. It's like gravity. It has to happen.
100%.
So why aren't you bigger? Because you don't train in the gym, you don't eat right. Why? Because you don't want it enough. That's it. You have the body that you want. You may sit and go, I'd like another body. Like and want are different things. If you really wanted it, you go get it. And you have the life you want. And you have the friends you want. You have the alliances you want. If I ever meet Elon Musk, even though I disagree with him about many subjects, I disagree with him about H1B1 and a bunch of things. I'm not going to go up to, hey, you know what, fuck you, bro. What the fuck? Elon, thank you very much for giving me a Twitter account. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but thank you very much for what you did for the world. I just want to say thank you because I don't think enough people thank you, Elon. Thank you. Sneaky wouldn't say that. He'd take a selfie with Elon in the background and go, with the fucking Jew lover, and just be like, Elon will never do business with you. He will never talk to you. He will never help you. You'll never be able to call him. You wonder why you stay at the bottom.
So Tate is saying, be nice to powerful, rich people. You can get something from them. That's the story, in case you missed it. Be nice to powerful, rich people because you can get something from them. Doesn't matter how you differ or what you believe in. Just be nice so you can get something. Get some money.
Imagine for a second how powerful a friend I could be to some unknown streamer. Imagine if they were only smart enough to understand, to sit and go, if I show that person respect, my life gets better. But sucky people stay where they are because they suck. So that's one of the things about people sucking that does give you a degree of, it does make you feel a bit warm inside, you know?
Why do you have reciprocity toward people who are unwilling to break out?
In what way? Sorry.
Like, it seems as though you want to wake people up still.
Or to stop it.
On this Overton window concept, it's basically the idea that you've moved the line of what we're allowed to say. And I just know that to be objectively true. Because Nick Fuentes wouldn't have happened if Andrew Tate hadn't have happened, in my belief. What do you think is the most important thing that we can talk about now that we weren't allowed to talk about before? Like, people don't realize.
This is one of those dumbass white kids that you're like, damn, bro, how did you, like, what? How are you dumb? Your parents invested in all of the SAT prep, the private tutors your whole life. Like, how are you still stupid? Extraordinary. This kid is suggesting that talking is what moves the needle. Like, no, being able to say what you want is not getting the job done. You ever noticed that, doofus? Like, the Israelis don't say a lot, but they damn sure do a lot. Come on, man. Stop with the goofiness. This is the most idiotic question. This guy has not asked one penetrating question. He's not given one objection to any of the nonsense that Tate has said.
I'm involved in it. They can use to wreck me. Trust me, they'll do it.
Do you get skeptical every time you see something that's super viral?
Oh, 100%. 100%. People think the media tells you what happened. The media, its specific job is not to tell you what's happened. It's to prepare you for what's about to happen. The simplest example of this is Diddy beating the shit out of Cassie in the hotel. That clip came out, and I said to Tristan, Diddy's going to jail. And he said, why? I said, have you seen the clip of him beating up Cassie? He said, is he going to court for that? I said, no. He's never to this day been charged with that. I said, it's nothing to do with that. They are trying to prepare the public and prepare the public's minds.
The podcast.
I agree with Tate there. That is correct. And one of the values of Tate is that he's funny, and periodically he'll say something that's insightful. And that's one of the things that was insightful. That's correct. The media is not an objective body that reports on what has happened or what is happening, but rather they are a propaganda entity, the fourth branch of the government.
And the comments you're reading on streams and the Facebook accounts, all of it is bullshit. And it is narrative that is deliberately being shaped. This was first done during COVID. Do you remember when COVID first came and people would tweet out their symptoms? There were these stupid, I think, and just work it all out. The Arab Spring, which was a revolutionary moment in world history, was all caused by the internet. When Tunisia
or the CIA. But if you like to call the internet the CIA, or the CIA call it the internet, hey, freedom of speech.
And Egypt and all these countries started overthrowing their leaders in 2015, I think it was, or 2005. I can't remember if it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I think it was 10 years ago, 2000. Genuinely, you could name anyone now who tells the truth, and I guarantee he spends most of his time playing video games.
But do you think there's some influencers, and I can't say any names on this because I can't think of any good examples, who are being pushed and they don't even realize they're being pushed?
Oh, 100%. Every famous influencer within the traditional matrix is being pushed specifically by the matrix for a reason. Mr. Beast is being pushed for a reason. This is why he had to let one of his crew go tranny. That's not in fact.
Bro said go. Now the irony is that they talk about how popular influencers are being pushed in a particular direction while ignoring that Tate is a popular influencer and somehow pretending as though he is immune to the thing he is describing. Curious.
Anymore, so they don't talk about that. But when he was at the height of his popularity, one of the people with a wife and a kid randomly decided to become a tranny. Why? Because it was the most watched channel. And you understand why everyone eventually just goes over there with them.
Andrew, how did you go from talking to Bonnie Blue to this podcast right now? But I will ask you this.
What? No. I'm going to answer that. Did you see what I tried to do when I spoke to Bonnie Blue?
What is there to try? I mean, she's a woman who's been ran through. She's an adult content creator, which is something that you used to be. And if you found her to be so repugnant, surely you wouldn't lend your great fame and name to her ascent. And so for that reason, we have to question your associations. I wouldn't want to be seen with such a woman, a globally known harlot.
Because I didn't argue or disagree with Bonnie Blue on anything. I agreed with her on everything. But I think that people at home understood what I was trying to do and the points I was trying to make.
This would be where the host or the interviewer would interrupt and say, okay, well, Andrew, what did you accomplish? Other than mind games between two individuals, what did you accomplish for the people? Do you realize because people watch you, maybe there's some young men who had never heard of a Bonnie Blue, and now they have because of you, because you were having a conversation with her. And when they found out what she did, maybe it put these dark thoughts on their mind and they went on one of these inappropriate websites. Or, maybe you've made her more money on OF or on any of the perverted places that she extorts money from men. What was the positive outcome that the society, that young men received as a result of you going and having a conversation with someone who engages in perversion for a living? Other than you making money because you were paid to be there, what was the value add for the men you claim to care about? That question, apparently the host is just like, he doesn't ask questions like that. I mean, that'd be a good question.
If we understand that certain people, certain ideas, certain algorithms are pushing certain things, why is Bonnie Blue famous? If I
You
had the
helped her become
capability
more
to
famous.
destroy
What are you
Bonnie
talking
Blue
about, dude? You
and
helped her
destroy
become
her
more
brand
famous.
and
It's
destroy
insane.
her influence,
That's insane.
why did she sit down with me? If I'm in Romania, a country where I have all these legal problems, why did I take time out of my day to sit down with her? And also, why did I agree with everything she said? Now, maybe, let's imagine, I was so fucking clever.
Do you think the lie is different?
To the rap song, and then they get rich, and they do drugs, and they do fuck hoes, and they go to jail for it. Russian horses. Every single idea has poison inside of it. And you can think that, you've got it all worked out. Maybe ignorance is bliss, but you get to a point at the top where you just laugh. You're either going to laugh or you're going to cry. That's it. You're going to laugh or you're going to cry. And you get to the point now where if I see someone on the internet who's even semi telling the truth or semi doing good work, and then I see that they broke up with their girlfriend, it could just be an innocent breakup. Or she could have got a letter.
Now, this is true. There's just no doubt that various intelligence agencies or clandestine services, they do various things to destabilize people. The way they destroy you is not always the blatant things that Tate often speaks of, murder, imprisonment, shadow banning, debanking, financial attacks. Sometimes they attack your psychological peace and mental stability. Like they did Dr. Martin Luther King, they'll send images to your spouse of you being adulterous, or they'll do things to frustrate and exhaust you mentally. Maybe you're going to fly somewhere. Your visa doesn't get approved. Your luggage doesn't arrive. When it does arrive, things are missing and things are clearly disheveled. They hold you in an interrogation. There's all sorts of things that they can do to try to destabilize you and make life harder and slower, to take your focus away and take your energy away from doing the work that you were doing that the government finds to be against their interests.
Or if I see a guy who's doing well in the world and he gets accused of rape, he could have raped her. Or she could have got a letter or got dragged into a room. And then you start to sit and go, well, how do I prevent myself from being paranoid? Because surely some people just break up normally. Who's broke up normally? Which one's a psyop? Which girl was convinced to do this? Which girl's own?
And he brings up such a meaningful point, and this is why it's so critical that if you are in a relationship with a woman, you train her well. And ladies, you really must be obedient, because as smart as you may be, or as smart as you may think you are, when you're dealing with law enforcement, you're dealing with people who are very, very well trained to break you down, to get you to incriminate yourself or others. And what you might not know is that the law enforcement is legally allowed to lie. That's number one. Number two, they're trained in manipulation. They're going to try to scare you, and they're going to try to get their end. The best thing that you can do is be silent and follow whatever directions your man gave you. And 9 out of 9, the best directions are to be silent. Yes, be silent. Those are the best directions. Talking never helps you with law enforcement, I promise you.
Only with the guy because she's spying on him. Which one's real?
Do you feel understood?
I mean,
that question was
And like
kind of GAY. It's like, come on, bro. Like, kind of weird ass questions. Like, do you feel understood? It's like, come on, dude, grow up, be a man.
he often becomes an addict. He becomes suicidal. Many of these people like spiral, like many of the astronauts that went to the moon.
because they're chasing another high.
It's just like, I've been to the top.
I really am Superman to her, like actually. And if you experience that, you start to, maybe part of you believe it a little bit, and maybe it's enough. So I think that's what's monitoring my. The faster you run, the stronger the air resistance becomes. Like a car. A car can only, every single generation has believed the world is ending. And it seems that in my simplification of all of these hyper complicated historical events and hyper complicated problems, the only thing that's ever.
Excellent. Ladies and saints, it's been my pleasure at this time to fellowship with you. I thank all of you who are members of this thing of ours at peacetothesaints.com. I thank those of you who have supported this stream. I thank those of you who have transitioned onto Twitch with me. and those of you who have been on this long march and will continue infinitely into the future. Let us end this with our tradition, the Creed of the Assassin. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you. The Creed of the Assassin. I am going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable, and I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Until next time, peace to the saints.